Hey y'all, and welcome back to the That Was Three podcast, the podcast where one wrestling-obsessed couple talks all things pro wrestling. I'm Gina.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is the That Was Three podcast.
Gina, we just watched Survivor Series.
We did.
And we're going to be jumping into it, giving you our reactions, the recap of the show, and just generally how we feel about it. However, this is the kind of multi-weekly now, multi-day per week podcast where we talk about all things both AEW and WWE. So be sure to follow the Twitch channel and like us on YouTube to get all of our content where we cover Raw, Dynamite, Rampage, SmackDown, and of course, pay-per-views like this.
Also, don't forget to follow us on socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, but there's no content on there yet. We're working on that at That Was Three Pod.
Yeah, and you can also catch us on all podcast services. So we are available on Apple Podcasts. We're available on Spotify, pretty much any podcast service that you could want. And like I mentioned, we do also upload our stuff on YouTube as well. We're just getting started, so the schedule's been a little rocky. And next week is Thanksgiving, so we will not be putting out content next week for the weekly shows. If anything,
we will be going live on our Instagram, much like we did today with our predictions for Survivor Series.
Absolutely. But moving forward, the week after Thanksgiving, we will be starting to do weekly live recaps every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday after the shows.
And we will be taking you all on a vlog for the holiday show that is going up in my hometown the first week of December. So please be sure to follow, like, and subscribe, just everything that you can.
You can find us everywhere on That Was 3 Pod.
All right.
Before we jump into Survivor Series, I do want to quickly touch on the news from WWE this week, and I really don't want to get into the specifics. I'm sure you've all heard about it by now. I'm sure you've heard lots and lots of reactions. I just want to say that we had a hard time with it. We saw, the releases this week, and we've had conversations about what we kind of want our WWE consumption to be. I wanted to start the show by saying, whatever your thoughts on the releases are, we don't judge anyone for continuing to watch WWE. As you saw, we're here to talk about Survivor Series. But we also don't blame anyone who isn't that interested in WWE right now. Because I know that's something we've talked about ourselves and that, I definitely have struggled with.
Yeah. We did get into this conversation a few times this week. Just starting the podcast right before two major releases, I think is a really strange coincidence.
Because our first ever episode was right when the initial releases happened.
It was the first batch of releases. And it kind of sucks because much like our reactions on Survivor Series, we are a house divided about some things, especially watching. I will personally continue to watch Raw and SmackDown only because as a performer, it sucks that your friends and family were released and that they treat their talent terribly. But at the same time, there are still people that we have been supporting, and it sucks specifically for Big E, because I know for certain Ryan doesn't want to watch Raw anymore, which is why I will be watching Raw and kind of just recapping it for him and getting his reactions. But it sucks for people like Big E who are having this huge push, and it just comes at a shitty time.
Yeah.
And the numbers are going to plummet if they're pretty bad right now. But the numbers are going to plummet more, and it's going to be put on his shoulders or other performances on that roster, and that's not super fair just because, WWE never likes to take their own blame. So it's a really tough decision. I think.
And to be clear on my point, I've seen a lot of things online about, like, how can you criticize the releases if you're going to keep watching, like, we'll see you for Survivor Series and that kind of thing. I think that's all nonsense. Like, I think it's totally valid to be critical of what WWE is doing, and it's also totally valid to still like a lot of things they're doing and to still like a lot of the talent that's on the show.
It's a love-hate relationship, just like you have with all of the performers on there.
And I also want to be clear that I don't think my decision, especially, with Gina watching, but just, an individual choosing not to watch WWE or not has literally no impact on WWE's bottom line. Like, it would have to be literally hundreds of thousands of people all kind of deciding the same thing.
Which, we're not far off.
For me personally, it's not like, I need to stick at the WWE to show them that they're being wrong, because they aren't going to hear it. And it's not like, oh, I hate WWE so much, because that's not really true either. I still enjoy a lot about WWE. For me personally, it's just like, in order for me to stay invested in wrestling, I don't think I can dedicate 3 hours to a show that is both, in my opinion, not very good, and is part of a company that I'm having a lot of outside of the show issues with at the moment. So I'm going to take a break from Raw. I'll still watch SmackDown, and I'll definitely still be watching Dynamite. But it's not like we're giving up on WWE. I mean, hell, we just bought our WrestleMania tickets.
Yeah,
so.
for real. And we're going to a show in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, a house show, which we've never been to.
I know, which I'm very excited for. It's just kind of, the egg should have been released.
I know, that's all Matt said.
For real. It's just, it's tough. It's tough coming from a fan's perspective. It's tough coming from, I keep saying like, performer's perspective. But it is a worker's perspective of like an actor and a performer. It's very hard, and I'm just not ready to totally give up yet. Also because of the 3 people that watch this podcast. Clearly they rely on us. Obviously. So moving forward, I will be recapping Raw and just kind of getting Ryan's eye roll reaction to it, and I'm very excited about that also.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into Survivor Series. We've talked about a little bit on different shows about how we weren't really feeling the build to Survivor Series, that we didn't feel there was much being built up for it. We talked a little bit on one of our live streams this past week about how it doesn't feel like one of the big 4 pay-per-views. How do you feel coming out of it? How do you feel about the show?
Loaded questions. I am not as disappointed as I thought I was going to be.
Really?
There was, I think, only like one segment that I was kind of like, okay. But I wasn't super angry with it. I was super angry with some of the choices that they made. But overall, I'd give it like a 6.5, maybe 7 out of 10. Yours is like a 2.
I mean, I don't really enjoy ranking things, so I don't want to give it a rating. I was very disappointed with it.
Were you really?
Yeah, I didn't like that show at all.
I guess it's because I just kind of, my bar is so low now for WWE shows.
But I don't...
that if I'm enthralled for more than 20 minutes, I'm like, yeah.
My bar is Full Gear. Like, we just saw...
but that's not fair.
We just saw a pay-per-view that was amazing.
But that's not fair.
It is absolutely fair.
It's not. It's a different fucking company.
But you can... We see the excellence that a pay-per-view can be, and then we see what we just watched.
No, I understand that.
So what I'm saying is I'm not grading WWE on a curve anymore. Like, I did not enjoy that show at all, and I don't think, WWE is always bad as an excuse for the show.
But has WWE, past the Attitude Era, ever been a Full Gear pay-per-view?
Well, I mean, like, go back just to Crown Jewel, which was the pay-per-view before this. I thought that was excellent.
Oh, I thought that was terrible.
Like, that show was way better than this. Like, we'll get into all the different matches, but for me, outside, I thought Becky and Charlotte was good. I thought it was really good. Thank God for those two. They are literally carrying the WWE right now. Mm-hmm. And I thought Big E and Roman was very good. I thought both of those matches, it makes sense that they opened and closed the show. In my opinion, there was a lot of rumor prior to the show going live that the women's match was going to be the main event, and I don't think they should have changed that for 2 reasons. One, I think the women's match was better, and I think the story behind that match was better. But 2, I think that incorrectly led to more speculation about The Rock showing up that didn't ever pay off. And that's one of the things that I had a problem with on this show. Was that there was so much downtime and so much filler and so many things that like were teasing out The Rock, and then nothing was done with it. So why do we just waste that 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
More than 2.5 hours. Why do we just waste that 4 hours?
I will say I am pretty bummed that they just kept hinting. And I know it was like The Rock's 25th, and that's why they kept doing his moves. But like, what the fuck is with the egg? Ugh.
Yeah, we'll get into the whole thing. Matt in the chat says Money in the Bank and SummerSlam were good to great. I 100% agree with Money in the Bank. We were there, and that was an excellent show. SummerSlam, I was there with Matt, and I think maybe he is misremembering some of it because he got a little tipsy during the middle part of that. I was not as big of a fan of SummerSlam, but I will say
Royal Rumble 2019.
going way back.
I'm
I will
saying.
say, with SummerSlam, I have some of the same problems. Like, I don't think SummerSlam was a very well booked show, but I think that the in-ring action at SummerSlam was definitely at a higher level than what we saw tonight. This didn't feel like a pay-per-view. Out of the 2 matches I just talked about, this could have been any other episode of Raw. It just could have.
Bruh.
Name, what other matches are you enjoying on the show, honestly?
I honestly I don't think the Flair and Charlotte would have had the time on a regular show.
I just said, outside of the 2 matches we just talked about, Becky and Charlotte was pay-per-view worthy. It was great. Roman and Big E was great.
I disagree, because the women's match was great.
No, it wasn't.
Ryan.
No, it wasn't.
It was great because they finally got to fucking showcase what they had.
I put out a tweet during that match, during the Women's Survivor Series match, that said, this is a showcase of how amazing the talent is on the women's division in WWE, ... And it's also showcasing how bad the booking is for the women's division in WWE. They went off. A lot of the women in that match showcased their skills. We had a Becky and Sasha moment that was excellent. I thought Rhea looked really good when she got a spot to shine. I thought Shayna looked good, surprisingly, when she had a little spot to shine. I thought Toni looked good when she had a spot to shine. The booking in that match was garbage. It was garbage. Like, who looks good coming out of that? Bianca, which is awesome, sure, but like Bianca already looked good.
I don't know. I feel like it really was able to. I'm not looking as far as booking. I'm looking as far as I forgot they fucking had talent on that roster. Yeah. That's how I'm looking. I'm not comparing them to AEW like you are. I'm literally trying to give. There's just no fucking push for women, and I felt like there was this time, and it was so nice. And I feel like I thought the match was great because it got to showcase each individual person except for Carmella, which sucks because she's really good in the ring.
Well, I think I don't think I'm comparing it to AEW either. I think we've seen WWE do good things before. Mm-hmm. I don't think this was good. I will agree. Dom just said at least they didn't rush the women's match. I'm glad the Survivor Series match got time. I'm glad Becky and Charlotte got time.
Yeah. I guess that's what I liked. Honestly, my main thing, we knew Roman was going to win. We knew all this shit was going to happen. I was so scared they were going to cut the women short. And I feel like that's why I'm so excited, because I never really got to see Toni Storm.
Yeah.
And I finally got to see Toni Storm.
For me, the reason that, like, I guess the reason that part of it doesn't hold weight for me is that it's a Survivor Series match. You have to have at least 5 people eliminated, and unless one side just sweeps, you have to have probably 7 to 8 to 9 people eliminated.
One side did almost.
And so, well, no, I'm saying just in that one match. Mm-hmm. And so, just by the nature of the match, it has to be at least a 10 to 15 minute thing. Like, the nature of the match is what made it long,
I
and
understand
the talent in the match is what made some of the spots really good. The creative and the booking is what made the match bad, in my opinion. And that's the problem with WWE.
And I guess here's my thing, is that it's very apparent in our past 3 or 4 shows, we are not fans of the talent in the booking.
We're not fans of the creative.
Sorry, not the talent.
Yeah.
The creative in the booking.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm not even going to, I'm not blaming the talent on it. Like, I'm literally watching the match for the match now. I'm not even really watching the characters too much, which sucks, but I'm watching the match for the match, and the fact that, they didn't cut the match, I thought, and I know you're like, well, they didn't have, they very could have, it's fucking WWE. They could have cut that shit out quickly, and they didn't. Which, I don't think it was intentional that they purposely didn't. I think they just kind of looked over it. But that's why I liked the women's. I thought the women's match was a pretty, technical-wise, wrestling-wise.
I thought it was
astounding.
I thought they all did very well. I just think because it's not just the booking of Bianca winning, because I don't even hate that. It's the booking I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's the booking in the match that I think was problematic, is that people getting eliminated seemingly out of nowhere, people reacting in stupid ways, Sasha getting counted out because she's fighting with her team, despite climbing up onto the apron 10 times. It's bad booking, and it makes everyone who's involved in that spot look dumb. And that's what I don't like about it, because the women are doing great. It is not at all the talent's fault. So let's go through match by match, because we start with Becky versus Charlotte. And again, I think this probably should have been the main event, but I thought the promo package they did at the beginning of this was excellent.
I feel like they've been promoting it for 3 weeks, which is great.
Yeah, they're WWE is so good at that, at putting together a promo package. I thought calling it all the way back to the slap they created the man's character was so cool. The like heat between the two of them, like you can definitely feel the chemistry there. Like whether it's a shoot or whether they have real tension, it's excellent. And like Becky did a match Becky did an interview after the show that was her basically crying and saying like, it's like, I don't know how to feel about it when you have someone who like you used to love and you used to be sisters, and now like I don't even want to be in a ring with her. And she was like literally crying. And again, I don't know if it's a shoot or if it's legit, but either way it's really freaking good television.
Yeah.
And then they went out there and just put on a 10 out of 10 match. Like Truly. It was excellent.
Truly.
What did you think?
I agree. I thought that match was fantastic. I thought, oh man, the way Charlotte fucking dominated was so good.
Yeah.
But she's just, whatever shit she has backstage, like, she's talented as shit.
Charlotte's amazing.
Like, oh my gosh. And this new look that she has going, because she's got a newer look, I'm a fan of. That outfit, like, that outfit was fucking, their costumes...
Really good.
Their gear were good.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't know
so
if I
good.
Loved Becky's knees, the like pointy things on
it's
her
a
knees.
Gaga thing.
But I thought it was me being a nerd. My immediate thought was Scarlet Witch from Marvel. But I saw a lot of people doing like the Britney like oops I did it again thing, which is totally possible.
Either way, I thought it was I liked the pointy knees. I thought it added to just instead of a regular leotard.
Yeah. And
that was my opinion on her costume.
They both looked excellent.
They did.
And both, gear and in the ring, they both looked excellent.
And like the dialogue in the ring as well was great. I thought that match was a 10 out of 10.
I thought the match was really, really good. I really, really didn't like the sneaky pin by Becky, where Charlotte tried to use the ropes and she got caught, and then Becky does it and she doesn't get caught.
Now I remember the ending. It's not a 10 out of 10 anymore.
Yeah.
I thought the infight was great. The ending was fucking bullshit. I was so angry.
I don't like...
It's so dumb.
I don't like that ending.
That's where they fuck things up.
Yeah. WWE has a tendency to... it feels to me like they think a clean win makes the person who loses look weak. And I think that's a really stupid way to book. So what they do is they have these cheeky little wins every single time to keep them both strong. And what ends up happening is you take a match that I was really, really invested in and make me leave with a sour taste in my mouth about it. Where, like, the thing I remember now is that the ending was dumb, not that they put on a killer match. And I think it's okay. Let Becky get the win. Like, if you want Becky to win, have her win clean. Like, Becky and Charlotte are both legends. Like, they're going to go down as two of the best women's wrestlers of all time. It is okay for one of them to get a clean win.
I think they were trying to play... Yeah, it's great for them to get a clean win. But Becky getting a clean win doesn't add to her heel character that they're trying to enforce.
Yeah, but again, like, I feel like you don't have to have these bad finishes every time to reinforce your storytelling. Like,
I mean, I agree. I just feel like this she's fucking way over.
She's so over.
And like, come on.
I put it in I think one of our chats earlier as well, but the other issue that I have with this, and admittedly it's Survivor Series, so it's champion versus champion, and like that's the reason they're there. But one of the issues I have with the women's division right now is that it seems like only the 4 horsewomen matter. And I guess it's felt like that way for a long time, honestly. Yeah. But with Rhea and Bianca at the Rumble earlier this year, it felt like we were kind of reaching a new dawn for the women's division, which was really cool. And this storyline between Charlotte and Becky doesn't need 2 titles to be told. It doesn't need to be a Survivor Series match. Like, this animosity between them and this storyline of them, like, being friends and now, like, being bitter enemies, they could be telling this exact same story, and it would be this over without titles on the line. Or not even on the line, but without titles on them. And then you could have 2 other women who were title holders that, like, were doing this. Like, we talked about how the men's Survivor Series could have been better if it had been the Bloodline versus the New Day. What if the women's Survivor Series was Team Charlotte versus Team Becky after a month of building this animosity between them, and you had 2 other women who were champions that were getting the head-to-head match? Like, the reason the WWE booking feels bad across the board, it's not just the women's division, is that they don't care about anything other than their main championships. Like, we saw today, we didn't talk about it, the pre-show, the U.S. title versus the Intercontinental Championship. They don't give a shit about their mid-card at all.
They don't.
Like, I looked it up before the match because I couldn't remember. Shinsuke has only defended his title once since winning it in August. He defended it in September, and he won in, like, a 6-minute match. And Dom puts in the chat that Austin and Rock once headlined Mania without the title on the line, and I think some of the best matches in Mania history have been non-title matches. Yeah. They actually do a pretty decent job on the men's side of doing this, but on the women's side, they just can't seem to get it right. But what did you think of the pre-show match? Because I thought it was actually really good.
I thought it was good. I really like the way they're building Damien's character.
Me too. I like the heel turn for Priest.
I know people were like, I don't get why would he break the guitar? Because he's like being Damien, like he's being like the evil part of himself.
Yeah,
I know we were texting Matt. Matt was like, I don't understand why the riffs like send him off,
like bother him so much. Yeah,
but like, you're fighting, you're gonna lose concentration.
You're gonna lose concentration.
You are.
I don't mind him I don't mind him disliking the guitar riffs. I don't like the 50-50 booking. I don't like the not clean win or the disqualification.
Yeah.
What I wish had happened was Damien had beat him clean and just been pissed that Booge kept like interfering, and so he went outside the ring, broke the guitar, beat him up, and then beat up Shinsuke. Let him win and then do the heel turn. I hate the 50-50 booking.
I think it tried to give more to his character. Like, I can see why they did it the way they did from a writing perspective.
I see why they do it. I just don't think it's good. I think what they're trying to do doesn't always work. But I do think it was a good match, and I'm actually a little surprised it was on the pre-show. I saw a lot of people tweeting that the 25-man Battle Royale that is later in the show should have been on the pre-show, which I can understand.
I like the promos. Except for Vince's promo.
Well, yeah.
Like, literally, he comes out of a car and people are clapping because they're like, we don't want to be fired.
Vince...
You're so wonderful.
Vince comes out in a month where they've let go, 30 people, and the first time...
What the fuck is he thinking?
The first time we see Vince in, a year and a half, he shows up in a limousine, and, the entire active roster, which is, 15 people, are applauding for him like he's the savior, and it's like, what is this? And then he has the stupid egg.
My favorite is when he's like... And he's, mouthing what he's supposed to be saying. And everybody in the back is like, ooh, and so you can hear him. What the fuck?
So this is the first time they tease The Rock because the limousine rolls up. The limousine rolls up, and it's Vince. It's not The Rock. And then he says, I have a surprise for you, and it's not The Rock. It's the stupid fucking egg from a movie that no one has seen. And they don't explain it. Commentary says, one line.
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, commentary says, one line. I think Corey says, oh, yeah, Saxton, it's the fucking whatever egg from the stupid movie you haven't seen. But, if you're not paying attention, you're just like, what the fuck is Vince doing? And
because in the commercial, in the trailer, it comes out for 5 seconds at the very beginning.
Yeah, very weird. And then we get into the actual
$100,000.
We get into the actual pay-per-view, and the hype video for the pay-per-view is a 5-minute long trailer for this fucking movie. They barely touch on Survivor Series at all. It's just The Rock and Ryan Reynolds trying to steal some shit.
Yeah.
Which is the second time they tease. I saw it on Twitter. I saw it in our chats. We talked about it when we were watching. How could they do that big of a promo for a Rock movie and then not have The Rock?
I'm so angry about it.
Or at least have him on the Tron saying, Roman, you're not as good as you think you are, or whatever. Do something.
Maybe that's why they cut everybody. It's because they needed the budgets to actually bring him back.
I don't think they need the budget. They have record profits.
Bruh, I don't know.
Yeah. So moving on, I think the next match on the actual show was the Survivor Series, the Men's Survivor Series.
I wrote some of them down, so I believe so.
I didn't love this match either.
No.
Honestly, I won't lie. I found myself scrolling Twitter and not paying attention throughout this match.
I know, and then he'd be like, "Babe, get off your phone." It's the worst ever.
I don't. Nothing about tonight had any stakes.
The reason they don't do the Rumble like this is because you can't fucking pay attention, and the pizza thing.
Well, we'll get to that. That's on the 25-man Battle Royale match.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about the Survivor Series match.
Okay. Yeah. My bad.
I thought the Survivor Series match was fine. I thought there was perfectly good spots. I thought there was perfectly good wrestling. I think Seth winning makes sense. I don't particularly love that booking. I prefer when they use these moments to put over someone. But we've also seen in the past where they put over someone in Survivor Series and then nothing comes of it. We've seen Lana be Soul Survivor and they did nothing with her character. We've seen...
Yes, they did. they released her.
Well, yeah. We saw Keith Lee. I don't remember if he was Sole Survivor, but he had that Survivor Series moment, and then nothing came of it. So I say that I would prefer they build up characters. I think it makes sense to have the person that you are expecting to go after Big E end up being the sole survivor. And I think it's a nice juxtaposition from last year when he sacrificed himself in the first exit to this year winning. Like, I think it all makes sense. But I found myself not caring at all about this match.
Dolph Ziggler.
I love me some Dolph Ziggler. What did you think of the Survivor Series match?
I mean, Drew did great.
Drew did do.
Drew, I forgot how much I loved him.
Yeah.
And, like, because the shit he's been doing right now isn't really anything. I forgot how good he was. The him and Bobby thing.
Yep.
Big
Very
fan.
Good.
Very fucking frustrated they both got eliminated.
Yeah.
But also understandable.
And I tweeted out a video of Gina reacting to Drew hitting a Claymore on Bobby Lashley. She is just such a mark for the people she loves, and like she was very into Drew McIntyre for sure.
Tell ya, that puppy, he does real good in the ring. Like, he's just so fucking good.
He's very good.
Like, even besides him being incredibly handsome, he is just so good.
Yeah.
Like, and then he knows how to work the crowd, and Bobby's a monster, so it's super intimidating, but he still gets him with that Claymore country in this house all the time.
I thought it was perfectly fine. I thought it was a little weird Austin Theory made it so long. I was getting very worried.
Fuck that kid.
I was getting really
not
worried.
Not him himself, just this whole thing that they're doing. Why the fuck is he on the thing? Why the fuck was he one of the last? I'm very angry. If we had a haterade segment today, this would be it. Why is that kid wasting time?
Somebody tweeted out a picture of apparently Austin Theory, at least for a little while, was part of Seth's like minions with Buddy Murphy. I did not remember that at all, but I saw somebody tweet out a picture of Seth from back then with Buddy Murphy and Austin Theory on either side of him. So I think maybe they were trying to call back to that, but if that's what they were trying to do, it didn't work, because I literally didn't remember that was the thing.
I hated it.
But I will say I'm glad he didn't get the win. For one of the first times ever, I found myself rooting for Jeff Hardy, which I thought was cool.
You know what?
I thought he did great.
God damn it.
He did good.
From his last interview that he had with Medcap,
where he was a little more
where he
like
beat his ass, I was
natural.
Yeah, big fan of that. I explained this during the match. Jeff Hardy is so over. The fact that he lost is so stupid. But I think he's so over because it's very similar to 90s nostalgia. Like, New Kids on the Block, going to my hometown. Am I going to pay $200 for a ticket? Hell yeah, I am. Are they probably just going to sit there because they're like 50? Yeah. Is that going to change it? No, I'm still going to scream like a little girl because I'm so excited that Jordan Knight is singing. Like, I think it's that same thing.
Yeah.
Of like...
He's so over.
He's so over. But you know...
He did pretty good.
I haven't hated it these past two.
There have been some rumblings that they might push for Jeff Hardy to be a Roman antagonist at some point. I don't think, obviously Jeff Hardy's not beating Roman, like he's not going to be the one to end this reign. But I will say that I wouldn't hate that. Like if it was Hardy versus Roman at say like the Royal Rumble, like I wouldn't hate that.
Right.
I think it would be good. I don't
see that happening.
For the first time since we've been watching, I am ready for Jeff Hardy to get a push.
I think he should do something. I don't know if his push should be to Roman. That's a big name.
Well,
you want to you're basically replacing The Rock with Jeff Hardy.
Not for WrestleMania. I'm saying for we have like 7 pay-per-views before WrestleMania. We got to fill it with something.
Well, we've got the Rumble coming up in January, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because in January we're gonna have the day 1 pay-per-view on January 1st, and then we're also gonna have the Rumble at the end of January.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. The next thing on the show was I think it would be good.
Dom says you're high, Ryan.
I think it would be good. I think it would be good.
I mean, I get that. I'm glad you're becoming a fan. Yeah. But you got to come back down because that was a little big.
Speaking of being high, Matt and Dom were talking about the pizza segment, the sponsoring, and I mean, call me crazy. I didn't hate it. I honestly, so like the way I'm thinking of this is, you have a 25-man battle royale. It's pretty quick. It's probably the shortest thing on the show. And nothing on this show has stakes, right? Like, the Survivor Series matches don't matter. There's no build to them. There's nothing on the line. There's no reason for us to care. The tag team championships don't matter. There's no reason for us to care. The only thing, the opening match and the closing match are the only things that have any sort of stakes to them.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have a bunch of matches with no stakes, you might as well have a little fun. Like, and I would much rather have a 10-minute stupid battle royale where AJ Styles gets tug of war like over the top rope, and people are eating pizza, and R-Truth is being stupid.
Oh, R-Truth.
I would rather have all of this dumb stuff that is at least entertaining than have them give me matches that they're treating seriously but not booking seriously.
I was so surprised that they let Otis be kind of like
funny.
Yeah. He was like eating that pizza, and I was like,
Then
oh my god, is he
immediately
gonna do the
eliminated.
worm? I thought he was gonna do the worm. I was very excited for 5 seconds. A 20-man royale for absolutely nothing. I said this,
but that's what I'm saying.
before.
Like, nothing on this show had any stakes. So, like, why should this be any different? At least this acknowledged that there were no stakes.
I feel like they
should
have used it to, like, they're building Shotzi's
character.
Is that how you say her name?
Yeah.
I just want to say Schlotsky's, but I know it's not Schlotsky's. Shotzi's character. They're building it pretty well.
But we're talking about the 25-man.
I know, but I'm saying what they're doing is, like, I get that they're, like, using the pizza as a shtick or whatever, but use these to build, like, use it to build characters.
Well, I will say, yeah, like it or not like it, Omos's build, like, or booking has been the most consistent thing on WWE in the last year.
Do you say not like it because I don't? Is that why?
Yeah, I know you don't like it. I don't particularly like Omos either. Like, he says this is my house a lot. Like, every time he does anything in the ring, he's like, this is my house. And that's like all he says. A little tired of that. He obviously is very limited in the ring, but they have...
Obviously. They were punching him and he was like, and I was like, bruh.
But they have built him as this monster that can take punches, and all he has to do is chokeslam. I think he does.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. If
I go up to you and I go, and you go, that's not acting like a monster.
He's getting hit.
Learn how to take a hit.
Oh, that's fair. I will. It's just been consistent, and I like how much fun AJ is having with it, and they are continuing to show him as a guy that is dominant, and like. Again, like it or hate it, it has at least been very consistent booking since they put the two of them together.
That's true. It's the one thing in WWE that has a storyline that has stuck
they're being
for
very
longer
consistent.
than like 3 weeks.
Yeah. I would like to see it used to give one or both of them more of a push. Like, they were tag team champions there for a while, but the tag team division doesn't exist in WWE.
Yeah.
So, like, at some point I'd like to see, like, AJ versus Roman would have been a good feud, for example. And you have Omos on the outside who can prevent the Usos from interfering. Like, there are things we could be doing with them that they're not.
Like there's reasons that you didn't go into booking wrestling as a job.
Because I'd be so good at it.
Yeah, that's why.
Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, that's it.
So anyway, it was dumb. It was incredibly dumb. It probably should have been on the pre-show. But again, on a show... It should have
been on a pre-show.
If the show is going to be dumb, at least lean into the dumbness. Like, don't tell me something is serious and good when it's just as stupid as the 25-man battle royale. Like, the 2 Survivor Series matches had the same amount of stakes as this pizza battle royale. But we were told that they were serious when they're not. Like, at least this acknowledges how dumb it is.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
It was dumb.
Next up, we have the tag team championships. The Usos versus RK Bro.
Yes. I didn't get to watch the end of the match.
You didn't watch the end of the match. And the end of the match was probably the best part. There was an RKO out of nowhere, which was like coming off of a splash, which was really good. This is just like the men's Survivor Series match, honestly. Like, I found myself uninterested. Like,
that's also why I didn't watch the match.
I
thought Usos were going to take it, truthfully. I didn't see there was any way that RK Bro would have taken it because Raw, like, swept.
Yeah, Raw won everything. I'm not sure.
Excuse me, sir, not everything.
Well, yeah, almost everything.
But yeah, I mean, the beginning was fine, the middle was okay.
The problem with this is that neither one of these matter at all. Again, there's no stakes in this entire pay-per-view, but like either team getting a loss or a win doesn't matter because there's nothing on the line. And neither team losing or winning matters in terms of storyline because neither one of these teams are involved in any sort of storyline. So like the Usos losing doesn't hurt Roman, doesn't hurt the bloodline because the Usos lose constantly and Roman gets pissed about it. That's part of their gimmick. RK Bro winning or losing doesn't matter because they literally haven't defended their titles in like 2 months. Like, nothing about this matters.
Is a very...
What I'm saying is that the loss doesn't hurt the Usos at all.
I get that.
It doesn't hurt the Usos at all.
But if you look at the entire fucking show, nothing is hurting anybody.
That's
Wins and losses don't count.
Right.
The fucking titles don't matter.
Yeah.
Like...
It's literally... WWE is the Drew Carey show, where everything's made up and the points don't matter. Like,
yeah. That's fair.
This pay-per-view just epitomized that like wins and losses don't matter. None of this has any stakes to it unless you have really, really talented people like Becky and Sasha making a storyline on their fucking own, or you have really talented people like Big E and Roman.
Being placed to go first. Like, I know you're like, we shouldn't... If The Rock wasn't going to be there, why did you have that as the last match?
I agree. I think Becky and Charlotte should have been the main event.
Yeah, they fucking were the best match of the night.
If you're not the main event, the second best match always goes on first. So, like, it makes sense if they're not going to main event that they would be on.
If they're not the second best match, that's what I'm saying.
I agree. And then we have the Women's Survivor Series, which we've already talked about.
Yes.
Again, no stakes at all. I thought the booking here was really bad. But I thought the women did really well. I thought they showcased some people that we haven't seen a lot from. Like, Shayna has a few spots in this where she looks really...
She does.
I should say Shayna had one spot where she looked really good in this, which was against Rhea. They obviously have chemistry, and they both looked really good when they were fighting each other.
Fair.
When Shayna's not fighting Rhea or someone like Rhea, I feel like she looks lost. Like, as someone who did not watch NXT when she was the 300-day champion or whatever, I cannot picture her being dominant because of how WWE has positioned her. Like,
she used to be.
I just can't. No, not on the main roster. She hasn't.
I didn't say the main roster. I said she used to be.
Well, right.
WWE.
Yeah. Well, but we didn't. That's what I'm saying. As people who didn't watch NXT, I don't know how Shayna.
Well, no, like her first two matches that she came in, I was like, holy shit.
Well,
and then the third match.
Well, no, it was. She came out at Elimination Chamber, and she dominated Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
She utterly dominated everyone, including Asuka, and it set up Becky versus...
do y'all remember Asuka?
She's been injured.
Okay, that doesn't make it like... Just saying, do you remember Asuka? Because she hasn't been on there forever.
But Shayna, remember they set up WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Against Becky, and they did the whole, weird vampire thing where she bit Becky's neck and, whatever, and then Becky retained. And, ever since then, when they made the decision to not put Shayna over, she has done nothing.
How dare you? She held the tag team title for, 90 million days with Nia Jax.
Yeah, I don't think any of it's good, and I don't think she looked particularly good in this match. But Toni Storm looked really good. Shotzi looked really good. Charlotte looked as good as ever. Charlotte's the best. Not Charlotte. Sasha is the best.
Charlotte is the best.
I thought Natty looked good in this match.
Natty did look good in this match. I really wish...
I thought Rhea looked good in this match.
I really wish they would use Natty more for something like...
I wish they would use all these women more.
Yeah.
I thought Zelina didn't look particularly good. I thought Carmella wasn't in it, but I thought Shayna didn't look particularly good.
That sucked.
Yeah.
I know that there always has to be one. Oh, what we didn't talk about was the KO tapping himself out.
Oh, yeah. It makes sense for his character.
I didn't like it.
I don't really like it either. Seth did it last year, so it just feels like the same. But, yeah, I thought it was fine for his character. Why would he care to be there? It makes sense. I don't particularly like that either. I didn't particularly like anything on this match, if I'm being honest. And then we had the main event. I think that was it on the main event. And I thought the main event was excellent. I thought it was so good. Big E and Roman have really good chemistry. They're both awesome. It was absolutely a big man's match. It was slow. It was hard hitting. They both took a lot of offense. There was that one spot where Big E took 3 Superman punches in a row.
Yeah.
And the camera was up close on Roman, waiting for the ooh-ah and the spear. And Roman does the ooh-ah and the camera pans out and Big E is just standing there all hulked up, walking towards the corner.
Yeah, that was a good shot.
So fucking good. The crowd was hot for this match. Everything about this I thought was good, up to and including the ending. I thought the ending came a little out of nowhere, but they both took so much offense that I can't complain about it, and Roman hit a clean spear.
At one point I really didn't know where it was going to go.
Yeah, they did a good job of making you feel like Big E could stand toe-to-toe with Roman, which I'm very happy about. They clearly are continuing to push E.
That's a big, that's the thing about WWE matches that, we've joked about, is that I am pretty good at calling who's going to win most times. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh yeah, Roman's got this. But there was a little bit when I was like, oh, fuck.
There were a couple of near falls.
I was very scared.
There was one point where Big E hit the big ending, and he took a step or two towards the ropes before he hit the big ending. Yeah. And I was literally screaming at the TV before he had even done the move. I was like, he's too close to the ropes! He's too close to the ropes! And then he grabs the rope, and I was like, man, so that, like, it got me. Like, I was into this match a lot. I'm also, I would have bet $1,000 that the Usos would interfere in this match, and I am so glad they didn't. Like, finally, they book Roman to win clean and to look strong.
Funny that earlier you were like, name a match that Roman's won by himself without help.
I'm not talking shit. I'm saying they should book him clean more often. Roman is dominant. He should look dominant.
I agree.
It was great. I loved everything about this.
It was really good.
The only downside to this was because they had spent so much of the pay-per-view teasing The Rock, that when The Rock's music didn't hit after the win, I was a little let down, which shouldn't be like the feeling you're ending with, you know? There was also this one weird moment when Roman was walking up to the ramp after winning, where you think it was his old music started playing. So like instead of his new like heel music, it was his old like dun.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, it started
based
like
on
in
the notes that I've heard.
It started in the middle of his like walk up the ramp, and for Pat McAfee stopped mid sentence.
I was like,
he thought something was happening. And I thought something was happening. Well, and then it didn't fucking happen.
It's because it's like the whole Cena thing. When Cena came back and nobody knew about it. Yeah. And like...
And we've seen it now. Like, Cena came back after Money in the Bank to challenge Roman. Brock came back after SummerSlam to challenge Roman. And then they spent so much of the night. I found a tweet. But the tweet said something like, you know, out of a 300-minute show, something like 90 minutes has been just promo packages and entrances and like whatever.
For The Rock.
And it felt like that. Like the show felt really long. And not just like The Rock 25th anniversary stuff is whatever. Like it's his 25th anniversary. I get it. But like entrance is taking so long. We got a lot of commercials for a pay-per-view.
We did.
And we got two just totally random vignettes. We got the Drew package that was like from an old 24 or something. Package. And then we got a Bobby package that was from an old documentary of some kind.
I don't think the Drew package was from before. I believe that one was a new one.
Maybe it is, but like, why are you showing it? And it would be one thing if they were promoting like a new documentary series that was about to drop.
That's what I thought was going to happen. I thought they were going to bring back their originals with Drew.
Me too. But they didn't. Like, it never actually went to like, tune in for Drew McIntyre's new documentary. So, like, what the hell was the point of these two segments? Like, it was a very weird show.
There was also some weird cuts, like, to commercial randomly. I don't know. It was
weird camera cuts in general.
It was just weird.
Not to mention, we have this whole missing egg thing, which was another one of the potential Rock teases.
Excuse me, sir. We're going to figure that out Monday night.
Yeah, apparently Dave Meltzer tweeted out during the show that SmackDown stars have been told to, like, stay and show up for Monday Night Raw.
That's what I heard.
Because they're going to make some, like, big deal about, like, who stole my egg? And it's like, this isn't fucking Who Shot Mr. Burns from 1997. Like, no one gives a shit about this. Or, what was it? There was a whole segment when I was a kid where it was like, is The Undertaker alive? Or, like, is he coming back? I remember it was a big deal. And it was, like, all over TV. This isn't that. Like, nobody gives a damn about this fucking egg.
Sir, The Rock gives a damn about this
Clearly he doesn't, because he didn't show up.
So does Vince McMahon, because it was $100,000. $100 million?
$100 million.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Roman was very clear, like, that was my contract last year. It's fine.
Also, I think that's not a great look for WWE either. Like, I think they were going for just a funny, like, one-liner.
That's stupid.
It wasn't funny, but also making a joke about Roman having a $100 million contract after you just released more people for budget cuts. Like, why isn't somebody, like, just... They need someone in the room who's okay with saying, hey, this is a bad idea. Yeah.
No, there was it's funny that you said that. There's a cartoon I said, and it was like, how could we be better? And it's like WWE execs and 3 WWE exec and Vince McMahon. And they're like, oh, we should fire Keith Lee. We should fire this person. And he's like, or we could just not fire anybody. And then he's thrown out the window.
I've seen that meme format before, yeah.
That's how I feel it's going. Like, if somebody says something that Vince doesn't agree with,
yeah, or like, Vince, should we build some new stars? No, I've got an egg. And you have to assume,
we've
like...
got a big egg.
It's just like the Pizza Hut thing. Like, obviously, Red Notice paid them a lot of money to be
now we know what Red Note is.
Yeah. I also saw, like, totally unrelated, but Microsoft had a 25th anniversary, like, Xbox stream this past week, and they were also sponsored by Red Notice, and, like, The Rock did a whole promo package for them. So obviously Red Notice is spending a lot of money on this marketing, so that's why the WWE did it. I do think it's a little... Good. It's already out. Huh. I do think it's a little weird that The Rock was able to do a promo package for Xbox, but wasn't able to do a promo package for fucking WWE. Like, what the fuck is going on?
I think he's going to make a return. I think that's
The Rock will eventually make a return, but, like, I don't know. I thought everything about this pay-per-view was mediocre. I thought it was like the tale of two things. Like, if we had just had an hour-long show that was Becky and Charlotte and then Roman and Big E, it would be like a 4.5 out of 5. Like, that's excellent. But then everything else in between, in my opinion, was like a 1 out of 5.
I just don't understand what they're doing. So, there's that. I thought the women's match was great. I thought Becky and Charlotte was great. I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to be as optimistic as I possibly can be because I'm going to continue to watch Raw.
Yeah.
But I'm not excited about Monday and this fucking egg.
I'm so excited. Are you kidding me?
You're not even going to watch it. You're going to be at a game.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to the Spurs game tomorrow. Fuck yeah, I don't have to watch Raw.
I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very down on WWE, and I think part of it is that we did just have two, not back to back, like All Out was a while ago, but we've had 2 in a row AEW pay-per-views that were excellent. Like, just excellent. And we have now a pay-per-view from WWE that just was not great. Was not great.
Let's hope the new year brings some good content.
Yeah. I will say it was positive that they had 25 people to fill out a battle royale.
Do you notice that they didn't have one for the women?
Well, they definitely don't have 25 women to fill out a battle royale.
Yeah, they've got like 9.
It'll be interesting to see what they do for the Royal Rumble.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Matt's going to the beer fest on Wednesday. That's cool.
Fun times.
Well,
We're going to be in the valley eating tacos on Wednesday.
That is true.
What up?
That was it for Survivor Series, unless you have any closing thoughts.
I wish The Rock would have come back.
Me too.
Fuck, that would have been so good. That would have been so fucking good.
It would have. And you got really hyped at the beginning. It was, what was it? There was something that triggered it that made you think it was going to happen. Was
Sasha's.
No, yeah, like that. It was a lot of little things.
There was a lot of little things.
But there was one thing in particular where you were like, I think it's happening. I think it's happening. And you were like really
when they
starting
moved,
to get excited.
When they switched the women's match and the men's match and made the men's match last, I was like, it's going to happen. This is it. My heart can't take it. Well, I guess I live to see another day, y'all, because it didn't fucking happen.
Yeah.
Good times.
Anyway,
that's all
we're taking the week off, like we said. We'll probably be on Instagram Live after a few of the shows. But, yeah, we're going to see how this goes. Gina, I don't know if you know this story, but the gobbledygooker that they are referring to was this whole thing of WWE back in the day, where it was a giant egg and they were waiting for it to hatch. And remember The Undertaker has told this story of how he was terrified that he was going to get the call and like be told he was the Birdman inside the egg. That was that was a whole thing they did, and I may have been at a Survivor Series back in the day. I'm not actually sure.
It's just weird. It's just weird.
Point being, WWE has always been fucking stupid.
It just passed back then, I guess.
Yeah, we weren't as
starved for entertainment, apparently.
We weren't as critical back then, I think, because like you go back, like every once in a while I'll go back and watch like Attitude Era like pay-per-views, and I really like watching the ones like after I stopped watching, so the ones from like the Ruthless Aggression era that I never saw. And, like, you'll see some really, really good matches, and then you'll just see some, like, awful, awful TV. So it's, like, it's not like we're missing out on some golden age, but, like, when you have another company, when you have competition to compare it to, I just feel like one is so clearly better than the other right now.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, check us out on Instagram later this week. We'll be back week after next with live reviews, and that will be posted on YouTube and podcast services as well as we go.
Yeah.
And we will be leading up to the Day 1 New Year's pay-per-view.
Day 1, y'all.
Day 1-ish. Or we're the ones.
Go follow us on all socials at ThatWas3Pod. That's all I got today.
Yeah.
Okay, bye!